This is the story of a bunch of people that want to experience the impossible and basically a cruise, And we all know cruises are fun, entertaining, and very relaxing. It gives the opportunity to do many things at once, such as shopping in a mall while going to a crazy and fun destination. But this story is not like that one. I'm gonna let you know on the most craziest and most insane cruise ship story, which was a complete disaster. Today we are talking about the poop cruise. We are talking about the cruise from hell, basically. And believe it or not, but a lot of things went wrong through this cruise, and I'll let you know about it all. Little disclaimer though, if you are actually eating or doing anything close to like being in the kitchen or whatever, just don't watch this video because it's about to make you disgusted. But if you got the guts for it, hey, respect, Maji. And for a little FYI, you can also find the whole documentary on Netflix, and it's literally called The Poop Cruise. And so, as I was saying, in general, people and their families want to spend their time and their vacation actually loving themselves and actually enjoying themselves and enjoying getting some food, going to another country, doing some crazy things, That's life. And for that, you gotta have a crew of 1,500 people working day in and day out, so that it makes sure that you spend one of the greatest vacation you have. There is basically something for everybody there, from a kid spending his day at the pool to the parents enjoying their days while sipping on Mai Tais, And one thing about these cruises, people absolutely get trashed. They get fucking brah, And they don't know when to actually stop drinking sometimes, That's when you get some problems and some issues that you hear about left and right. And basically, if you are on one of those adult cruises, for example, it's literally like a big ass margarita running on the ocean. That's what I see. And as the story goes, in the cruises we're talking about today, we get to see first the people. And we have Devin, a guy that just got invited because of his future family that got on the cruise, and everything is inclusive. So, count me in, you don't have to pay for nothing and you just have to go to a destination and just enjoy your life. Let's go. Then we get to Rebecca and Larry, the father-daughter duo that wanted to go on an adventure by themselves and enjoy their time together. And don't forget about the girls, Kaylin, Ashley, and Jamie, who for them, it was a complete bachelorette party, expecting to have a lot of fun, and from there, started the drinking. And so until now, no problems whatsoever. People are enjoying themselves, basically enjoying life on a shopping mall. That's all I gotta say. And then we move on to day one. And on day one, everybody is actually, just excited to be on the boat, just to get in the boat, explore the rooms, go everywhere, maybe start on sipping the first Mai Tais and all of that. So basically, it's just the first step of getting to know everything that's going on, and maybe at night starting to actually enjoying people, enjoying the surrounding and all of that, like all the activities and all the food. So everybody is having fun on the ship, swimming, talking, drinking cocktails, sunbathing already. And then we hear a British woman that talks on the prompter to all the ship, and her name is Jen the Vacation Barbie. And Jen was the entertainer of the cruise, and she was the director in charge of all the fun experiences. And then we get to meet other people actually working on the ship, because trust me, there were a lot of people working on that ship, like close to 1,500 people. And we get to meet Abhi, the cook, and he's from India. And as he says in the documentary, it literally was the toughest kind of work he's ever done in his life. And keeping up with the pace was not always easy. But then we jump to Rebecca, the bartender, the crazy bartender. And Rebecca is crazy. She basically serves drinks to everybody all day, every day. And from what she says that everybody is on top of everybody, if you get what I'm saying. And just like I said, basically the first day was all about literally just settling in and starting some couple activities left and right. But then we move on to day two. Because day two, people started to party, really started to enjoy themselves in day two. They started going crazy on the boat and also going full throttle towards Mexico, because that was also the destination. And in the meantime, Jen is giving headlines of the best activities to do on the boat. every parent has a margarita in his hands and people are having fun, kids are having fun. Basically, it's like a party on the water for days. That's what it feels like. And from that, all of that fun and all of that, we move on to day 3. Because on day 3 we finally get to Cozumel in Mexico, and that's when they get out of the boat, they go on exploring, and they discover so many things around them. You know, they go to the beaches. Everybody, of course, gets hammered, gets the time of their life. For example, for the bachelorette party, the girls Kaylin, Ashley, and Jamie, oh, they literally went so trashed to the point where they don't even remember how they came back to the ship after being so trashed, you know. But thank God people had, you know, a sense of getting everybody back to the ship and all of that. And that's why everybody's good. But basically everybody spent that day just drinking, dancing, partying, having fun, which sounds good, you know, like it sounds like the dream vacation. But wait, let's just wait. Because on top of all of that, on that fateful day of the day 3 at night, while they were going back home, like after all of that Cozumel, Mexico fun and all of that, they were on the ship, everybody was sleeping, and they were going back towards the US, you know. And while everybody was sleeping, an alarm started beeping, and the sound of it was pretty extreme because basically it woke up everybody from their dead sleep. And everybody was like, yeah, can you turn that off, because it's really not okay to hear that. And everybody basically on the ship is running around trying to figure out where the problem is coming from, because if there's the alarm, that means that there's a problem. So all of the crew members and all of that are going around trying to find the problem until they finally did, and they saw that the problem was in the engine room. There was basically a fire in the engine room.
The smoke has gotten worse,
so they couldn't do that much about it. They just tried to take care of the fire, but basically everything was still burning on the inside. And so Jen just let everybody know that, hey, there was a fire, but they took care of it, and it's gonna be just a little while until they actually can take care of the real problem. So they just have to let everything cool down first, and then they can go and fix the problem. So in the meantime, she just said to everybody to go have breakfast, because it was already like 7 o'clock in the morning, you know, waking up everybody from their dead sleep. So to fix the problem and all of that, she told people, hey, back off and go do you for a couple of hours or whatever. But as soon as people started to go by their day and start doing them, boom, they lost electricity. And then that's when it started.
Attention, air fatigue.
Oh my god.
Fatigue.
Because as soon as you lose electricity, what else do you lose? You lose AC. And of course, everybody needs AC in a cruise ship, especially, you know, once you're inside and you don't have access to air and all of that. You need AC. And from there, you can say that they looked like they were dead in the water with no one to control the boat, because everything is down. And so they were thinking that they would just leave a little bit of time to the engineers so that everything cools off, so that they can go in and fix everything. So they just had to wait a little bit. But then at the same time, they noticed that, you know, something was not right. They noticed that something was not working, and was not working were the toilets. And now you are on top of some shit, because electricity, that's the first, but toilets, I'm telling you, because having literally like 5,000 people on a ship that cannot use a bathroom, you know, that's a big problem, and everybody needs to go to the bathroom almost every day. I mean, I don't know about you, but I go every day. So at that point, what would you do to resolve the actual problem when you see this kind of problem? Well, they came up with a solution. For a man, he can hold himself, he can just go ahead to the edge of the ship and just pee to the ocean, you know, which is easy enough. But for women, how are they gonna actually pee? Because if they try and bend over and go a little bit overboard just to kind of pee, I mean, the risk for them to fall is pretty high, and no one wants that. So the solution was, hey, how about everybody pees in the shower? Because the shower has a drain, so you can actually pee in the shower and that can drain, you know? Okay, you go like, okay, maybe that's a solution. But then for number 2, what are you gonna do? So that's when the true disgusting shit started, because they were like, you know what, we're gonna give some red bags to everybody, and everybody is basically just gonna poop in those bags, and everybody's just gonna place those bags outside of their room, and somebody's gonna come up from the crew team and they're gonna pick up those bags and take them somewhere else, you know? Which is disgusting. God damn it, we're talking about this shit. Oh Lord. And guess what? Everybody started to panic. Everybody started to go like, yeah, I'm not gonna fucking, you know, poop in that bag or whatever. And some people started to take some ammonia trying to keep their body out of going to the bathroom for a couple of days or whatever. But it's absolutely nonsense because no one wants, you know, to go and poop in a bag, you know? No one had cell phone service because there was no access to no more cell phone tower because, you know, no more electricity in the cruise and you are completely in the ocean. So there's no way for you to actually reach anybody with your phone. But the only solution at that was the fact that one of the crewmates had one of those satellite phones where it gets connected to the satellite right away and you can actually phone somebody inland. So that's how they let the company know of what happened. And from there, boom, the ball started to roll and the company started to come up with some solution or whatever. But at the time, no one measured how big the story was. And no news channel was broadcasting what was happening in the beginning. From there, we move on to day number 4. Day number 4, some shit happened again. People were hot, people were suffocating, and right under the sun with no AC, it's hot to stay inside, so all of the situation was messed up. And people would go peeing in the shower in the darkness, in the full darkness, and with only a flashlight to help them see inside the cruise ship. And a few hours after the fire stopped and everything kind of settled in the engine room, it was time to go inspect the damage, and that had been done and the damage was pretty serious. And since the situation was way more than they expected, they had to think of a new plan. And the new plan was to contact the nearest port, which was in Progreso, Mexico, and get a tugboat to pull them back by the day number 5. And people were determined to not go and poop and take that ammonia and all that so they can last. So they spent the night thinking, you know, in the morning we're gonna wake up and we're gonna be back in Mexico where everything is gonna be fine. But then, moving on to day number 5, they wake up, everybody wakes up, but then boom, where are we? Oh, we are still in the ocean, still in the open air with no land to see. So everybody's like, wait, hold on, what's going on, you know? Because we were thinking day 5 we were gonna be there, but nah, not yet. Guess everything changed again. Because they were supposed to actually get a tugboat to grab them and take them back, but nothing happened. And so everybody's disgusted, everybody's waking up to the disgusting smell of literally poop and feces and pee everywhere. And at the same time, everybody was hungry and the kitchens were closed because they had nothing to work with, and the only thing they had to work with was preparing sandwiches. And at least they prepared sandwiches for people, but even that, and people were still complaining, oh, so we went from making ice creams, we went from making all kinds of meals and all of that, but now look at us literally just eating sandwiches. But hey, with no literally electricity, what do you expect, you know? There's all of those machines are not going to be working anymore, so that's why with no electricity nothing is going to work anymore. Rebecca on one side comes out and she's thinking of dictatorship countries where it's basically the same thing, and now everybody gets to go for themselves and everybody's fighting for the food, just like in the Soviet Union. Then another ship shows up at the same time next to them, and everybody was like, yeah, that's it, they are gonna save us, there is another ship right there, there's another cruise ship. But that was not the case, because logistically talking, there were a lot of issues that they could not actually fix. For example, they could not transport so many thousands of people to the other ship and make the other ship so overcrowded, you know? So that's why logistically they could not actually go to that other ship. You had people on the other ship going in front of this ship. Those people going in and they're like, YMCA, while sipping margaritas, Muay Thais, having the time of their life. While on the other end, you had people fucking taking Xanax and antidepressant and shit like that. Like, that scene must have been crazy for them. But even though they didn't get picked up and all of that, they still got something from them. And what they got is the cell phone tower that that cruise ship has. And now the people in the poop cruise, had access to call their families and see what's going on and let them know on what happened in the poop cruise. And that's how the families actually started on going like, hey, so what actually happened over there? Because we hear that our families are actually stranded and everything. So they started talking to all the media coverage news they could find, and that's how CNN actually came through with a full coverage of the Carnival cruise ship called the Triumph. And now all of the country knew about it. All of the country is concerned with the the faith of those people, because no one wants to see those people freaking die in the ocean in those kind of conditions. And due to the backlash and everything going on the boat and the timeline changing, the boat actually started to drift a little bit, and now there is a new plan. And the new plan is not to go back to Mexico, but the new plan is actually go to Alabama now. There's a new port in Alabama with a boat, with a tugboat that's gonna come and help them and go back to Alabama. But that also means that they're also gonna wait for one more day until that tugboat comes in, and one more day until they get back to Alabama. So everybody is pissed and everybody is like, yeah, we cannot handle it. We cannot handle like 2 or 3 more days of not going and pooping for some people, And by this time, everything is disgusting in the boat. The showers are filthy, everything is filthy, everything is full of poop, and the poop bags are everywhere. And the legend had it, by the way, that there was only one bathroom in the whole ship that still worked. And some people found it, but the rest, poop on top of poop on top of poop. Just like Abi said with his whole lasagna shit. Oh, Lord have mercy. But then there was a decision made. And the decision was to have an open bar for everybody. And guess what happened? Everybody went crazy. Everybody wanted to forget about the situation they were in and what they were going through. But at the same time, that also brings a lot of problems, because as soon as everybody really started the drinking, people started going overboard and peeing. People started picking up poop bags and going like this and throwing it on people. People fighting people. People like being terrified of other people because they cannot protect their people. Like craziness and nonsense, to the point where they were like, yeah, we have to close this shit. No more open bar for anybody, because it went crazy. Then we're moving on finally to day number 6. Day number 6, the tugboat finally gets there and starts to pull the boat back to Alabama. But at the same time, the weather turned for the worst, and it was not going to be safe to go back all the way to Alabama, because now everything is moving on the boat. And guess what? With the boat basically doing this while they are going back to Alabama and they have a bad weather, guess what happens? Basically everything started to leak. All the pee, all the poop, everything started to basically leak. And with that, guess what happens? Basically all of the floor has basically a surface on top of it of water, but it's not water, it's basically excrement. And basically the whole ship just became a petri dish on the water, just drifting towards Alabama. And everybody was just waiting to get on shore. And then we move on to day number 7. Day number 7, the same thing as for day number 6. Everybody was just trying to hold it in. Everybody is just trying to hold on until they get back home, because they know they are gonna make it. But it's just gonna be disgusting to get there, because everybody is just still tipping toeing and everything is just still smelling so disgusting and everything. But then finally we get to day number 8. Day number 8 is then when they started to actually see the shore. So they were like, okay, we're getting closer. We are gonna get there like literally in a few hours or something. So day 8, the boat finally is going to the point where he gets to Alabama, to the shore. And then at 9 p.m. of course. So basically the whole day, you can say that we're almost close to day number 9. But hey, at least they made it by 9 p.m. And at the end, everybody makes it to their families and all of that. And they all say one thing though, shout out to the crew that did everything they could for the people, because it was a terrible situation that everybody was in. But thank God they were able to make it thanks to the crew as well, because they took really care of everybody. And from there, a lot of shit happened, a lot of hashtags. One of them was hashtag cruise from hell came out, and it was literally trending for a couple months and all of that, because literally it was the craziest story of a cruise ship going on. And that was basically a scenario for a movie, I am telling you. And from this video, guys, I just wanted to let you know, just be careful going on cruises. You never know what might happen. For me personally, just forget it. There's no way I can go on a cruise or something. But if you guys are willing to and you are courageous enough, go for it, you know. But just a reminder, go watch The Poop Cruise on Netflix, because that show is absolutely insane. That show was absolutely insane, and that people actually went through that. Hey, hopefully they got some settlement out of the whole story, because if I didn't get some settlement, Lord have mercy. But on that note, guys, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to go check out all of my other videos on the channel. And don't worry, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.